Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We've got, obviously varying opinions of what went down last night, different degrees of severity. Who did this? Who did that? Blame shifting versus gaslighting. Some people defending Kaitlyn, saying he needs boundaries being set before he makes these decisions. Others defending Susie. We're going to get into all of that. I think it's very important that we hear from former leads of the show, people that have been in this position before, and see what they have to say. We have Kaitlyn Bristowe defending Kaitlyn, and then I'll play Nick Viall defending Susie. And there'll be others, and we'll make more videos, and we'll all be talking about this for a good while because we all watch the show, and this is what makes it as popular as it is. We watch the show, and then we see it through our eyes, which are all unique and different, and we digest it differently, and we all have a different thing of opinions here. We all get hung up on different aspects of it. We'll hang on to awards, but he said this, but she did that, and then we'll break it all down. Anyway, we'll get into it. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at dneals for extra bonus content, and if you want to support me, you can go to patreon.com/DaveNeal, and don't forget to join or make sure to subscribe to the channel. You might think you are, and you might not be. Last night's live stream was wild. We had over 4,000 chat messages. Truly was a blast. You guys left so many voicemails and comments and Instagram stories. I appreciate y'all so much. We'll do it again next week. You can send me video messages through Instagram stories, and we'll talk about all that. So here's a couple alumni responses. Tanner said, just finished tonight's episode of The Bachelor, and holy schnoots, Kaitlyn went from the nice, although boring guy all season long to a raging a-hole right before our eyes. For what it's worth, mean Kaitlyn is way better TV than nice Kaitlyn. All right, so before I share, I'm gonna you got to stick around for what Kaitlyn says. I'm gonna play that closer to the end, but it's very interesting. Amanda Stanton, former Bachelor contestant and Bachelor in Paradise alum. Just a friendly reminder to make sure to tell your significant others that you wouldn't be okay with them sleeping with other women. Otherwise, they won't know better. Let me get Tasha on the phone. Hey, Tasha, I mean, in most monogamous relationships, this is implied, but obviously on The Bachelor, you need to double down on your boundaries. Sierra says, now y'all want to have my back after women tell all? LOL. After seeing him gaslight my girl, thank you. Phew. I'm going to play what Cassidy thinks of Sierra's comment in a second, and then we'll discuss it. I think most people can agree that it wasn't gaslighting, but we'll get into that. Let me know. Lauren Lane, also a finalist, the F1 from Ben Higgins season, now with Chris Lane, married with kids. Go away, Kaitlyn. And then she said, these guys really do forget it's not all about them and their journey. Shaking my head. Well, it is as far as the show's concerned. I mean, he's the lead of the show, right? The journey's centered around him. It's not all about him, but he's the lead of the show, right? Some comments from BachelorNation.scoop. Thoughts on tonight's episode. Producers played him like a fiddle. He's lost. I like him, but he doesn't know what he wants. You can't be in love with three people. He's in love with who he feels he is when he's around them. Before we are on Team S or Team C, we're on Team R. Respect. I don't get this double standard. For example, everyone loved Hannah for standing up. Oh, my alarm just went off. Everyone loved Hannah for standing up. Fine, they have different viewpoints, but the disrespect from him is toxic, intolerable. I found it disturbing that he told them all he loved them in the exact same way. I honestly couldn't believe how he treated Susie. So on Instagram, at least from this curation, it looks like a lot of people are against Kaitlyn. And here's what Cassidy had to say about Sierra's comments towards Kaitlyn the night before. Listen, I like Sierra and I respect her, but I have so many problems with this.
I don't think she even wanted to marry you. Do you think anybody wants to watch that and marry you?
Oh, that was for Shanae. Never mind. I thought that was for Kaitlyn. All right, here's what Kaitlyn Bristowe had to say.
Classic Bachelor move. Look, there's been something I've been wanting to say to you, and I don't know how to say this, but I'm in love with you. What? My gosh, I just did an Instagram story where I made perfect sense. And it was like 6 slides long, and at the end I was like, I am so well spoken. And then it said, sorry, there's a error with your video, and it couldn't be uploaded. Anyways, what I was saying was, basically I would like to know the ratio of how many past Bachelor and Bachelorettes there have been who have slept with more than one person in the fantasy suites. Now, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I would just wonder the ratio, whether you are a bachelor, a man, a woman, or you are a virgin, whatever. I just want to know the ratio, and I want to know if we are being, as the years go on, more forgiving or harder on the lead to be perfect?
I'm guessing she's implying that we've been harder.
I'm just going to speak from personal experience. I can't say if you were in that position.
Diamond ring.
When would you ever be in that position? But when you're in that position, you are making a life-altering decision. You genuinely fall in love with more person. This is why the first take would have been great.
Turn the TV
You
off.
fall in love with more than one person,
Turn the
so
TV
why
off.
would you not be intimate with more than one person when you're trying to find the person to spend the rest of your life with? Why?
So she's pro multiple intimacies. And again, you can be pro that and not like how Kaitlyn handled it. We'll deal with that in a second.
Why do we judge so hard on this? To me, it's either just like you're taking every relationship as far as they can go. I would even care to say that it's more heartbreaking to meet somebody's family and then break up with them than it is to be intimate with them.
You know, and that could be different for everyone, but Kaitlyn says it's more heartbreaking, or could argue that it's more heartbreaking to break up with someone after meeting their family than intimacy. I mean, in most cases, yeah, you've probably, everyone's different, but you know, you tell me, or don't tell me, but just think about it. Most people have had sex with more people than families that they have met. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Also, this is, take it for what it is, but it's just my opinion.
I'm nervous.
This show is to find someone to spend the rest of your life with. If intimacy is important to you, that's going to be part of it. And that's a conversation that you should have with the bachelor or the bachelorette when you start to fall in love with them. So, in my opinion, these women should have had that conversation before the fantasy suite. Like, hey, this is either okay with me or it's not. And if you've set those boundaries, then that's a much different story. But if you haven't, okay, I'm just going to put up a thoughts box. See what you guys think. Very curious.
So she's essentially saying, hey, Susie didn't set the boundaries. Now this is great because she can provide receipts to what she did in the situation when she was on the show. And no one got mistreated more than Kaitlyn Bristowe. I mean that. Nobody got mistreated more than her. She was slut-shamed in a time where we weren't ready to cope with it.
Sweet. You know, I assume that there's lovemaking going on in the fantasy suite.
I think that is to be assumed.
Chris has gone into the fantasy suite with 3 women and made sweet love to each of the women, including yourself. Will you be angry at him?
I don't know.
You will not.
I can't be. It's part of the process. You can't take out a car without test driving it.
Okay, but also final thoughts.
You know, maybe it's a product of coming from a more liberal Canada. Again, I know it's not always like they're more liberal than us, but we do have some. We do hold sex to this like ungodly level due to purity culture. I'm not saying it's wrong to not want your guy you're about to hook up with. The main response I'm hearing from people is saying, why, if he really loved Susie, he wouldn't have hooked up with the other ones. Well, that's almost irrelevant to the conversation of the boundary wasn't set. Now, she can feel the way she feels. She can set the boundaries now, but the boundary wasn't set, and he couldn't live up to a standard that he didn't understand was there. Well, he just should have known. I'm so sick of that argument. Well, you just should have known how I was feeling. You couldn't read my mind?
I totally get why it would hurt people's feelings.
Are we matching?
We're all different human beings with different emotions and different insecurities and different traumas and different upbringings. But also, maybe that just goes to show how little I was in love at that point. So I see all sides like a true Canadian. That being said, I have not seen the full episode, and I am interviewing Clayton tomorrow.
All right, so she says she hasn't seen the full episode. Now maybe she changes her mind. Well, I just love her. I love Kaitlyn Bristowe. She's probably my favorite former contestant of all time. I think she's so fantastic in her analysis. Let's see what she has to see after seeing Clayton's ending.
So we're going to get a lot covered. There's going to be a lot of thoughts and feelings in the next 12 hours.
Watch this.
I spoke too soon, didn't I?
She goes, I spoke too soon. No, first of all, Kaitlyn, it doesn't mean your points weren't valid. It just means hurt people hurt people. That doesn't give Clayton a pass to be an a-hole, okay? Everything that happened about what you said, I agree with, that the boundaries weren't set and all these things. Clayton's response to it is it's a completely different conversation.
Okay. doozy of an episode.
Doozy
You never
of an
know
episode.
the full story, and that's why I'm excited to interview Kaitlyn tomorrow on Off the Vine podcast.
She says you never know the full story. That's why she's interviewing Kaitlyn tomorrow on Off the Vine podcast, which we will cover. Of course, you're going to need to listen to the full thing or else you won't get the full story. Now, Sierra had accused Kaitlyn of gaslighting here. Where's the clip? Let's go to the clip here. Now y'all want to have my back after Women Tell All after seeing him gaslight my girl. Now look, I'm no psychologist. I will be talking to Dr. Diane Strakowski later today. We'll air it tomorrow. We'll talk about this a little bit. Was it gaslighting? Well, gaslighting. So when someone is gaslighting you, they are exploiting your vulnerabilities, fears, insecurities, and neediness. On the other hand, blame shifting is a form of manipulation in which your partner twists things so that you end up being blamed even if you were not at fault. Well, technically, was it blame shifting? They were both at fault for different things. Susie was at fault for not setting boundaries. Kaitlyn was at fault for reacting in a way that was that really flipped whatever ending could have had. Yeah, Kaitlyn would have been seen as the victim of circumstance where he didn't know the rules he was playing by, and he would have had a lot of more pity. More people would in the audience would have felt bad for Kaitlyn if they didn't see him act like an a-hole. As far as him yelling and showing all this rage, like I've said before, I think it's good to normalize people sharing their feelings. You know what I mean? He didn't like go and punch the wall. No. He was like upset, and his voice got a little bit louder. And then he said, "I'm sorry for raising my voice." He never said he was sorry for yelling. Is shifting blame a form of gaslighting? Blame shifting is similar to gaslighting, so many of the blame shifting phrases could also be considered gaslighting. Both gaslighting and blame shifting are forms of emotional abuse where the narcissist maintains control by using their abusive tactics. Could that be the case here? Yeah, I mean, it sort of can fit into a box. But in this instance, I like to think, and I could be wrong, like bullying is a repeated either physical or emotional assault of somebody, right? It's not a one-time thing. Oh, he bullied me. Well, no. It's road rage isn't bullying. It's just someone who cuts you off and you get in it, whatever. Bullying's if this person continues to road rage you because they don't like you and they shove you in a locker after. So blame shifting could be a one-time event, but also have we seen any sort of instances of that happening in the past? Obviously, in a fight, it's never good when you see people jockeying to play the victim. Whenever you see two different people saying, "No, I'm the victim because of this. No, I'm the victim." You can be a victim, but jockeying to play the victim is kind of like a form of blame shifting. But Susie should have set her boundaries. Kaitlyn should have taken a few laps around with a producer and talked it out before coming back at Susie. But that's not what the show wants. The show wants this heightened, dramatic mess. Here's what Nick had to say.
The way he talked to Susie, he basically was describing him blacking out while having dates with Rachel and Gabby. And then
I hate it when everyone says, the way so-and-so did so-and-so, they were basically so-and-so, because it always gets exaggerated to fit whatever narrative.
And got back to his hotel room and came to and realized, what have I done? The way he talked.
Well, you always say, oh, you want these people to commit to these relationships and really dive head in. And maybe he took that too literally. Again, I'm going to talk to Dr. Diane Strakowski, and we're going to find out what the psychologist's viewpoint is. But even she will tell you she can't properly diagnose this. We're watching a TV show. He might have had a 2-hour fight with Susie that we watched play out in 5 minutes. We might have watched the most 5 heightened minutes of a 2-hour conversation. That's not me making apologies for someone. That's me, just like Kaitlyn, saying, hey, we really don't know the truth, the full story, and it's very complicated, but he would have for sure come out looking way better if he handled his response differently. Hurt people, not an excuse, but that's what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Follow me on Patreon if you want extra bonus content. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. I'm going to release an episode probably later today. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to give you my full thoughts on this later this afternoon. And you can go to patreon.com/Dave Neal if you want to watch that. Check that out. And we will talk to you guys in a little bit. More content coming your way. I'll dive more into what Nick had to say and some other alumni. All right, let me know in the comment sections what you think. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.